Tom Wysmuller. I'm very, very pleased to be here at the conference. This conference is an assemblage of probably the greatest minds in climate that you can gather in one place. Hard scientists, and we know what we're talking about.
And how do you account for the incredible hostility that the federal government and et cetera?
Well, the federal government is looking for climate as a method of taxation. In other words, if you can tax petrochemicals, what happens to the taxes? They get passed through to people like you and me who have to pay for them. But the governments in the world are looking for revenue. And that's why you have this world movement to focusing on climate as a mechanism for generating revenue. But climate is always changing, always has changed. The warming of the planet is real. In other words, the oceans are getting warmer. And if you look at the molecular density of seawater versus air, it's about 800 to 1. So the globe as an entity is getting warmer. The air temperatures, however, are not. Air temperatures are flatlined. There's reasons for it. In my session on Friday, I'm going to briefly mention one of the bigger ones, and it's called albedo, or reflectivity. And when you increase the amount of cloud cover on the planet, the amount of floating ice, and the snow covering Asia, when sunlight hits that, it bounces off and is reflected at wavelengths that CO2 cannot intercept. Shortwave radiation. The planet must get colder. The doughnut around Antarctica last year was a record 20 million square kilometers, and it's floating, but it replaces 80% absorbing ocean and flips it to 70% reflecting ice and snow. It has to get colder. And what's worse, because that doughnut is getting bigger, the radius of clouds around Antarctica is also getting larger. And clouds do the same thing. It's called albedo, reflectivity, and it is at this point making the planet cooler. The atmosphere. And the Southern Ocean, by the way, is plummeting in temperature. The rest of the oceans are still warming, but the rate at which they're warming is slowed down. So the planet is kind of cooling off.
And so you're saying that the sun is essentially driving this?
Oh yeah, the sun is the energy that is entering the Earth's system, right? Some of it gets absorbed, some of it gets redirected by CO2. When it hits the ground, converts to infrared. But that process is pretty well understood. The CO2 also helps plants. And what it does, when a plant takes in water, which is hydrogen and oxygen, and then takes in CO2, which is carbon and oxygen, the hydrocarbons it creates the structure of the plants, and the plants then give off oxygen. It's a perfect symbiotic relationship between the animal kingdom and plants. And we're trying to mess that up. I think there's a concerted effort to get the public to believe that taxation is going to be the solution to, quote, climate change. The biggest effect on climate, I think, are politicians in D.C. And they're inventing most of it. Sure, last question, go ahead.
COP21, do you think that they're going to be able to pull off their carbon tax at COP21?
Yes, they're going to try. Should they pull it off? No. Are they going to try? Yes, they're going to try very hard. But Jim Inhofe just sent around this morning a very nice fact sheet refuting 12 claims made by climate alarmists. Every one of these is true, by the way. In other words, there are not more hurricanes, there are less hurricanes. There are not more tornadoes, there are less tornadoes. Not only that, every category of tornado has gone down. These are facts. They need to deal with facts.
And how do you account for NASA going along with the official story?
Look, the leadership of NASA is appointed by the administration, all right? NASA has seen its way to funding to jump on the climate bandwagon. It's very sad. I mean, I was with NASA in the good days, and we were making things that were great strides for humanity. I don't think that's true anymore. I think the agency has almost been hijacked, and that concerns us.
So it just means a few residual individuals who haven't capitulated totally, when you say almost.
Or retirees like myself. You know, I have no axe to grind. I'm on nobody's payroll. No oil company is funding me. No Echo Group is funding me either. I'm telling you the truth and the science as I know it. And I'm a pretty damn good meteorologist, and I'll keep doing that.